Do the Chicago Bears have the best play caller in the National Football League? We'll be talking about that and a lot more here with Shayne Marsaw. It's CHGO Bears After Dark. 6 days from this very moment, the Bears season kicks off. We're talking Bears football starting right now. Welcome back to CHGO Bears After Dark, presented by our good friends over at Circa Sports Illinois. Make sure you're hitting up the Circa Sports Illinois app for all your betting needs. NFL season is here, so make sure you're getting those bets laid down with Circa. We appreciate them as always. I am your host, Greg Braggs Jr. Alongside me, as always, here is Shayne Marsaw. I didn't think that we had an After Dark here this week because of Labor Day yesterday, but come on, it's week one. We are just a couple days away from the NFL season officially kicking off here on Thursday, and so why not? Let's run it back. Show number 3 of the day. We had our show at 1 o'clock where we broke down the captains on the football team and the injury updates and everything else. We'll get into that. Hogan Johns also did their thing, and now here we are on CHGO Bears After Dark. So grab a chair, have a drink, let's have some fun. Shayne Marsaw, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm just following along Jersey Gate on X right now as we kick off the show, but I'm excited, man. Football's back.
Yeah, so explain that, because we, right before the show's starting, my head's kind of spinning, trying to make sure we do everything organized, get it all right. So what is going on with Jersey Gate right now?
Well, on the Bears website, they have Luther Burden as jersey number 10 now, and Ja'Day Walker is number 20. But if you go on the Bears app, they have Luther Burden as number 10 and Ja'Day Walker as number 10. And the NFL jersey guy, if anybody follows him on X, he's the one that updates them as we go, says the official flip card that the teams send out for game day, that officially has Burden as number 10. And Ja'Day Walker back to number 20. So we'll see. I thought Burden would stay with 13. Maybe it is a typo, but I guess it'll get figured out here soon.
You were saying that Gary Ross, our insider, Gary Rappaport, as we affectionately call him, he was kind of hot on the trail on this as well, right?
Yeah, he was on there, and he said that I believe Gary said it was a typo on the website, and Jersey guy went back at him and said, I don't think so. So we'll see where it goes. I don't know. I think Burden's going to end up being number 13. He was number 3 in college.
Right.
Luther Burden the third, 1-3. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see. But these are the important information and issues, Guy Finley, and Gary is on top of it. He's sending me text right now. Gary is saying that Bears website has it reporting as 10, but Walker back to 20. Burden did switch to 10. So Gary's now confirming it through NFL numbers. So this is the hard hitting stuff that we are making sure we get right. I mean, honestly, it is people have pre-ordered.
I'm a numbers guy, man. So I'm all about this. I hate bad numbers. So
well, 87 was starting to grow.
It did grow on me a little bit. Yeah.
So I now that we're switching again, it's like, now I'm trying to readjust my.
But that first drop pass, you're gonna hate it again. That's the way that works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and if you go to 10, obviously Tyler Scott just had that number, so it does take some adjustment. He was starting to look fresh in the 87, especially when he was no block, no rock, laying down the blocks, open up the touchdowns in the end zone. But we shall see. So hey. It is important, like I said, I know there's some people that have been waiting to get their Luther Burden jerseys. They had to wait because you couldn't even order one online because Luther Bird's disdain for number
Yeah, you
87.
run into the Emeka Ibuka issue down in Tampa.
Yeah.
Drafted at number 9, everybody bought his jersey down there, and then he just switched to 2. But Tampa's stepping up and
Yeah, because my jersey story was the year we drafted Devin Hester. I ran into my buddy Pete's house, and I'm like, this dude, these were my exact. This will always be my like claim. Everybody's got a good I called it. With their teams, and for me with Hester, anybody that watched him in University of Miami knew he was unbelievable, just unbelievable, and not the Devin Hester that returned one for Furman, that has no relation.
Junior.
Yeah, Devin Hester Jr. that has no relation to the Devin Hester that we all grew to love. But back then, if you watched Devin Hester at Miami, you knew he was just a force of nature. And so and the Bears also desperately needed a punt returner. Because if you remember the year before they drafted Devin, they go to the playoffs and Bobby Wade and anybody else, somebody please field a punt. They could not get a guy to field a punt. Then they draft the best punt returner in the nation, in the world, in Devin Hester. And if you watched him at Miami, you knew he was already that guy before he got to the Bears. And I told my buddy, I'm like, he's going to revolutionize the game of football. He is unlike anybody you've ever seen. He's Deion Sanders, like Barry Sanders, whatever you want to say. And he was like, all right, Braggs, like you love him so much. Why don't you buy his jersey? Tough guy. So I did. I bought it right away. I took his challenge on, bought his jersey before because sometimes you got to wait, right? You got to make sure it's a scary thing to push your chips all in, spend the $150, whatever it is for a jersey. And if they don't work out, you got, a Jared Allen jersey hanging in your closet that you never
I have an orange Dusty Dvorak jersey.
Exactly.
I know a guy that's got a chicken salad Bears jersey.
I have a custom-made chicken salad Tariq, but he had some good years here. Thank you very much. Playoff 2018. Don't regret the chicken salad jersey. Tariq did put some ink on it as well. But long story short, Devin Hester get his jersey. He goes crazy. And by the third week, everybody's getting a Devin Hester jersey. So I bought his Miami jersey. And then for the rest of that year, I wore his Miami jersey. And now as a Notre Dame fan watching Miami kick Notre Dame's face in on the trenches, I wasn't wearing the Miami jersey the other night, but there's my jersey story. But yes, get your jersey is a rite of passage. So hopefully Luther Burden, figures it out and has a great career here starting here in week 1. So Shayne, that's it, man. 6 days from this very moment. It's fun to say, last week it was 2 weeks away. Now we're 6 days away. What's the vibe check, man? What are you feeling here?
I'm still, I've maintained all off season. It's hard not to get caught up into the hype. I mean, that's just that's a given. But I'm in full blown wait and see mode. I'm at the point. I'm old enough. I've watched this. I've seen this organization, disappoint me over and over again. I have to see the Bears on the field and prove it to me. That's where I'm at. Like if I was picking the game right now, I'll pick Minnesota to win game 1. I hate doing it, but I need to see the Bears prove to me that they're different. It feels different. It feels different than anything else before with Ben Johnson, with Caleb Williams. We'll see. They need to prove it. I'm just being open and honest. I know probably a lot of people don't like hearing that, but that's where I'm at. I'm in full blown. You need to prove to me that you're different, that everything has changed. Yeah, and it's going to take more than one game.
And I've been with you in that tenor for the whole offseason. Like I held true to my word. I made it all the way here. All offseason, I said I wasn't going to go crazy with the Kool-Aid, go crazy with the hype. They've had a great offseason, right? They won another offseason until the Packers traded for Micah Parsons, and then they took the championship belt. So maybe that's a good sign that, until the Packers made that move, maybe the Bears had won another offseason, but now maybe you can make the argument with the Packers making that move that they did. I don't know. I'll still take Ben Johnson over Micah Parsons any day. But at the same time, I've kind of been with you in this thing, and I keep talking to Rank about this each week. Like, we've gone through this so many times. Yeah. It's time for this franchise, not just Caleb, not just Ben, whoever you want, not just this offensive line, this franchise to kind of show it.
Yep.
And I feel confident. I feel extremely confident that Ben Johnson is that dude.
I'm right there with you. I totally agree with that, Greg. But beyond that, and this is a trap that I feel like all of us have fallen into, the players have to go out there and execute. Ben can hold them responsible each and every week. And if they do things that they're not supposed to do, then they're not going to be here. The players got to go out and execute. Ben Johnson can do everything in the world to make Braxton Jones a better left tackle. We'll see where it goes. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to Braxton proving that he can anchor.
Yep.
It's not going to come down to Ben Johnson saying, hey, you need to do a better job on that. It's going to come down to Braxton. It's going to come down to Caleb. It's going to come down to DeAndre Swift making plays. It's going to come down to the Bears defense making plays in health, all of that. But yeah, there's a lot of things that do feel different. I'm a believer in Ben Johnson. I am. The players need to go out there and prove that they can do it each and every week.
Yeah. And where it needs to be different, where the accountability has felt different, the physicality of practice has felt different.
Yeah.
The attention to detail has felt different. The maturity, the maturation process of Caleb Williams and taking him to the next level, it feels like they're doing things the right way. But where it needs to feel different is make week 1 feel different than 2019 against the Packers.
Yep.
Make week 1 feel different than last year against the Titans, where you come into this season with all this hope and they can't even get a first down. It was 17-0 last year at halftime against the Titans. And if it wasn't for a Will Levis, just here you go.
Yeah.
Tyreek Stevenson, pick 6, and that saves the day.
But Greg, you know as well as I do, you've been around this, you've been on the scene for all of this. Monday Night Football starts, the Bears come out and go 3 and out.
Right.
It's going to creep into everybody's head.
Right.
Immediately. Is that right? No, of course it's not. There's a lot of change here. It's going to creep into their head. The Bears just got to go out there and prove it. And I don't care what anybody says. There's nothing wrong with that. Off-season, winning the off-season, none of that stuff matters. How many Super Bowls did Micah Parsons win in Dallas?
0.
Exactly. But now you have people out there that are crowning them, to quote Danny Green, right? And you have to go out there and prove it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, and so it's just going to come down to can Ben Johnson make this team functional? Can he come out where they're a normal operating? This isn't December, the cold and the snow yet. It's going to be a normal night on Monday night. There will be a lot of pomp and circumstance, no doubt, and the nerves and the hype and the electricity of it will change a little bit than a normal noon game on a week 4, but at the same time, calm this team down. And can Ben Johnson get them to come out on their first drive? I know this might be asking too much, and it's fine if they end up punting, but they didn't score a touchdown on their first drive all of last year. They had 2 total field goals on all their drives of all last year. First drives of all of last year, 6 points. And so the team could figure out how to be down multiple scores and come back in the fourth quarter and make it a game, but they didn't know how to start the game with, some organization, some competence. And can Ben Johnson do that for this team? And then the adjustments, right? Not just, fourth quarter, we're going to scramble and play, backyard football adjustment, like true adjustments in the second quarter and coming out the halftime tunnel where you give yourself a legitimate shot to win the game. And that they did not do enough of last year.
Totally agree, man. I totally agree. And when it comes to, in-game adjustments and using your timeouts, that I'm not worried about Ben Johnson doing that. He's a tactician with all of that. Whereas with Matt Eberflus, even down to Matt Nagy, they both wanted to talk like they were going to be aggressive, but in the moment, neither were. You could see the pause. You could literally see them debating with themselves if they should do it. If you're going to go for it on fourth down, Greg, your third down play should reflect that. And I don't think that did last year, the way that the Bears were constructed. Ben Johnson, he's been aggressive in Detroit. He's going to be aggressive in Chicago, and I think we're going to see some of that on Monday night against Minnesota, because they're going to use Minnesota's aggressiveness against them.
Yep. And it's going to be interesting with both Kevin O'Connell and Ben Johnson, where they have this foundation of how they want to call plays, how they want to use their playbook, but they're both kind of, with Ben, obviously you're installing a whole new offense with all new players and a second-year quarterback. And with Kevin, you've got this, first start of his career in JJ McCarthy. It's his second season, but he was hurt all of last year. So essentially, this is his first game out the gate. He did have a preseason showing last year. And how patient can these guys be to not be able to execute exactly the playbook they have? It's going to be interesting to see that game of chess. Or can one of them scheme up, or how can they scheme up the ability to open up their offense with these new quarterbacks in place? So, and you have these very, aggressive defensive coordinators going at them. So as you said, how do you use that aggressiveness against them? The chess game on Monday night is certainly going to be fascinating. And the coaching staffs on both sides of the ball, I think, just go front and center. And when's the last time we've been able to say we feel confident in that fight?
Yeah, when you had Vic here, I mean, on that side of the ball, and that's the thing, man. That's what it comes down to. When you talk about the X's with the O's, like Dennis Allen cannot sit back and let the defense be, soft and passive against JJ McCarthy. You need to go out there and you dictate that. And how many years have we watched that over the years? Even back, you can go back to Lovie Smith. Yeah, there was times, but you would sit back in that cover 2 shell and you'd let these guys go and build some confidence by giving them the easy completions all the way down the field. I mean, do you remember Brock Osweiler? I mean, I believe it was Joey Harrington ate up the Bears when the Bears, the Super Bowl year, when the Bears were undefeated. They came off the big Arizona win on the road and came back and lost to Joey Harrington and the Miami Dolphins at home.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You dictate when there's an inferior quarterback or a rookie quarterback, you dictate the terms, not the other way around. And I believe in Dennis Allen. I don't think he's going to settle. I think he's going to dictate.
Yep. And we got Guy Finley here in the chat, who I like to give a hard time to, but he says, I just like them to win the game. I don't need them to solve every Bears fan anxiety item. And so to that, I mean, it is a fair point to say, just because it might be ugly, but as long as they come out with the win, just like the Titans game last year, that's fine. Survive and advance for a week, find your way to, 2-2 or 3-1 is.
But it doesn't work that way with the Chicago Bears fan base, because survive and advance is absolutely, I get it. And Guy is right, but the Bears have been beaten down forever. Greg, you were a Cubs fan. I mean, you get to a point where you're expecting the worst.
Right.
The worst to happen. And then the benefit of having a young, aggressive team is that when they start to build confidence, you as a fan start to build the confidence. You start to get a little bit of that swag. That stuff permeates throughout a young team, and that's the benefit of having a young, aggressive coach.
Well, and that's where we're going to find out if it is different, right? Because it's it when you see it. And we can have to, when you have to try to really reach or squint really hard to see something or rationalize this, or, but what ultimately, to your point about the Cubs, when they finally became the team that I had dreamed of my whole life,
right?
You could feel it. And there was no more of this, squinting to see if Corey Patterson is the best center fielder you've ever seen, or if Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood are going to, finally get healthy and be that guy. Like, you just felt it. Yep. It's hard to really quantify or put it on paper, but you know it when you see it, when your team is finally there. And so let's hope on Monday night, there are at least flashes of that feeling where you're like, wow, this is stuff we've never seen before. And this is talent that, we're not used to here in Chicago, and a lot of young talent on this team. And that will have us excited for the rest of the year and years to come. We're going to talk a little bit more here about Ben Johnson. I saw an interesting article come out that I want to bring to the program, and just continue to have some fun here as we are 6 days away from opening night against the Minnesota Vikings. So please hit that like button for Shayne Marsaw here joining us as he always does. Appreciate him very much, and appreciate all of you for tuning in. So hit the like button, and when we come back in 2 minutes, more Ben Johnson talk. Whatever the sport, the app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, or in-game, Circa Sports has it for you. Fun and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. It is officially week 1 of the NFL regular season. Thursday kicks things off with the Eagles and the Cowboys. We got games on Friday. We got a full slate of games on Sunday. Then, of course, your Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football. Make sure you're using the Circa Sports Illinois app to get all your bets down. Make some money with Circa Sports. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And then, of course, got to give a shout out to our friends over at True Fan Travel. That's right. For the second year in a row. Last year, we went to London. Amazing time. Arizona. Awesome game. Wasn't as great, but our enjoyment with the fans and all the experiences that True Fan Travel has to bring with us was second to none. We're running it back here this year, going to Viva Las Vegas. It's going to be such a great trip. We're taking over the Strip as the Chicago Bears take on the Raiders in week 4 of the regular season. 3-night stay at the Luxor. We've already sold out all our rooms at the Mandalay Bay, but don't you worry. We've got more rooms for you guys at your disposal when you sign up with True Fan Travel into the Luxor Hotel. And then tickets to the game are included. That's important because tickets on the secondary market are not easy to come by. VIP parties, the whole 9 yards. So don't gamble on missing the ultimate fan experience. Book your spot now at truefantravel.com. Hope to see y'all there. That's right. We're back here on CHGO Bears After Dark. Please hit that like button while you're hanging out. And real quick, want to give you guys all a friendly reminder. We have an important cause here that we're going to bat for. Our partners here, we've been raising money all day. We're going to be doing it all month long. And here at CHGO, we're a community, and we show up for our teams. And most importantly, we show up for each other. That's why this September, we are so proud to partner with Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America, an organization dedicated to making sure every kid has someone to show up for them. A one-on-one mentorship can change a child's entire future, giving them the support and guidance they need to thrive. But these connections don't just happen on their own, ladies and gentlemen. They need our help as well. So join the CHGO family, and let's show up for the kids in our city. If you're watching on YouTube right now, just use the donation button on this page in the chat. It's right where you're normally the button to super chat for is. Now you can donate to our friends over at Big Brothers and Big Sisters. These guys do amazing work. We had a pickup football game in the summer, and these kids deserve it more than any. So any amount makes a huge difference. Again, go to bbs.org/ALLCITY, and you can definitely help this cause, and we'll be doing this throughout the week and throughout the month. So appreciate you guys, jumping on board with us and Big Brothers and Big Sisters. So, let's get right back into it, Shayne. I have a interesting little graphic I saw from an article here from The Athletic, and that is, who are the 3 best offensive play callers in the NFL? These were 30 responses, expert poll of 31 NFL coaches and executives conducted by Jeff Howe from The Athletic. And you see here, if you're watching on the screen, Sean McVay, number 25 votes for Sean McVay. he got 25. You get 3 votes each for each person for each voter. So Kyle Shanahan had 18 votes, and there's Ben Johnson at 14 votes, and Kevin O'Connell, who he's going up against, with 8 votes. And then multiple times Super Bowl champion head coach Andy Reid, behind Kevin O'Connell with 7 votes. So your reaction to this is kind of uncharted territory for the Chicago Bears to have a play caller that's held in this regard. This is like Twitter votes. These are coaches, executives around the NFL, and what they think about Ben Johnson and everything he's bringing from Detroit.
Yeah, it's good to see, but it's much of the same. I mean, he had an amazing run in Detroit, but they couldn't get done what their ultimate goal was. And you hope he brings that success here, with a young, talented roster, and that nothing changes with him as a head coach. I don't believe that it will, but you're right, man. It is uncharted territory as a Bears fan, because usually when it's those GMs and everybody, that are silent in the background, they're usually the ones that aren't very receptive to anything Chicago, nor should they be, with what our track record has been. So yeah, it's exciting. And he has the young roster to bring along with him. And I don't know what else to say other than it's real exciting. It's not Matt Nagy, that's for sure. And I know fake Matt is in our chat and is probably going to have a comment on that, but he comes with a lot better resume than Matt Nagy ever did.
Yeah, he's in the chat saying, see how none of those guys are defensive play callers. Hell, that's all the rage now is offensive play callers. Maybe one day you'll get another shot, Matt Nagy, but it won't be today. You'll be holding Andy Reid's clipboard. But yeah, it's interesting. And I thought you brought up a good point before the show, and it's one of those monikers we always say here in the industry. It's save it for the show, but it was true, because I thought you were making a great point where, you got to anticipate, while you may not feel good about this spot or that spot or however things are going to play out, that you're paying Ben Johnson $13 million and bringing this presence in here because he should be able to elevate guys to a standard that's higher than what we're used to.
100%. And I think a classic case with that is what you're going to see on the offensive line. Is my confidence level high in Braxton Jones? No, it's not at all. Is the benefit of having Joe Thuney, an all-pro, next to him, a borderline first ballot Hall of Fame offensive lineman, going to help him? Yes. Also, Ben Johnson understands offensive football and where your weaknesses are and when you have to help people out. Would he ever have put Karan Amagaji on an island in a primetime game as a rookie coming off of an injury with and he's not going to chip, not going to provide him any help? Would Ben Johnson ever do that? No, but that happened here last year in Chicago. And you can't make that up. I know people get really upset with Phil and I because we're extremely vocal with things like that. And it's just, it's a new season. You got to let it play out. Eberflus isn't that bad of a guy. No, that right there is coaching malpractice. And you don't recover from stupidity like that.
Right.
And that Ben Johnson will make Braxton Jones a better offensive lineman than he truly is with his play calling.
And potentially a guy like Darnell Wright as well, who's very 100%. Talented, but you're going to elevate guys on whether they're average to getting them a little above average or good players and making them look great in a lot of ways. And I guess the opposite effect of this, and we'll find out on Sunday as the Lions take on the Packers, is how much of a dip do some of their players take? With obviously their offensive line certainly took a hit as well. So you're going to have to take that into account. But at the same time, do their offensive players, because all the respect to Detroit, they had 70 touchdowns last year. They're a well-oiled machine.
Yep.
But does Jared Goff take a little bit of a step back without Ben Johnson? Do some of their, skill guys, Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jahmyr Gibbs, not have the wide open spaces in the way that they were being schemed with Ben Johnson? We'll find out.
Right. Yeah. And the one thing that nobody ever talks about is luck. You have to have a lot of luck with your guys that have success in staying healthy. This is the NFL. It's got 100% injury rate as it goes, and you never know how that's going to creep up on any team. It's just the name of the game. Jared Goff has a lot to prove this year because he's had his most success under Ben Johnson, and now he's not there. So yeah, there's a question mark. Did he exceed any expectations that I had for Jared Goff? 100%. He's much better than I was ever expecting him to be in Detroit. So that's a credit to Jared's work ethic and Ben helping bring that out of him. But you can't sit back and say, oh, there's zero worry about losing coordinators on each side of the ball when you're a team that the next step for you is getting to and winning the Super Bowl. Them winning the NFC North isn't the goal. Detroit's expectations, much like Green Bay's are, I think we can have a long talk about that because I think putting Green Bay as a Super Bowl favorite is lunacy, craziness, just because of Micah Parsons. It's insanity. But it's the same. It's going to come down to execution on the field.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And so it's just, yeah, let's see if Ben Johnson can live up to this expectation and standard that he's set for himself. Can he do this here in Chicago, and how quickly can he? Maybe it's less of a question if he can, but it's more of a question of how fast that this will come together and what it will look like early on versus how it will look like in week 8. Is the definition of ugly winning going to be like week 1 last year against the Titans, where it's 17-0 against Will Levis and the Titans? Or is week 1 ugly just a different definition, that we're not used to, where we do have a functional offense that does move the football, does score touchdowns, but maybe has some turnovers too. You saw the quarterback series on Netflix where Jared Goff had a game where he threw 5 interceptions against the Texans, but they just kept hammering away. You even saw the playoffs last year with the Lions, which the Bears have a long way to go to get to this level of kind of offensive output and aggressiveness despite, mistakes. But at the same time, when you look at the game against the Commanders for the Lions, like, people want to say, well, Ben, I saw somebody on Twitter say, well, let's calm down to the Ben Johnson stuff. They never got to a Super Bowl. Well, it wasn't because of the offense. They were moving the ball, right? I mean, how many points did they give up against Washington? And I understand that Jared Goff had a bunch of turnovers, but they kept coming at them. So that's going to be interesting because last year, Caleb Williams did, if there's anything he did, it was minimize the turnovers. But I don't know if that's what's going to happen this year, because I have a suspicion that Caleb Williams or Ben Johnson is going to push Caleb Williams' boundary to be more aggressive, and that's going to cause more turnovers at times. But then how Ben Johnson reacts to those turnovers, at least based off of what we see in Detroit, is he's going to keep coming at them. It's not going to stop, and it's just going to come down to having Caleb Williams keep his composure through the adversity.
And it just lets Carm be more aggressive on air, right? If there's more turnovers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As he sharpens his Bajan knives.
That'll be fun. I'm so excited about that. But yeah, there is a big difference. If you come out, and aren't firing on all cylinders, there is a difference, like you said, last year versus the Titans to versus this year. Let's just say the Bears come out a little bit flat versus Minnesota. And that, I know how you are, Greg. We would have launched Eberflus last year. That's kind of where we were. The belief in the coaching staff, developing the players and understanding functional football, that's the difference to me is, if you're not going to come out at 85 to 90% in week 1 versus Minnesota, it's understandable. But the projection, your upward trajectory towards, mid and towards the end of the season, Ben Johnson said it himself. We're not going to be playing our best football in September. We're going to play our best football in December and January. And that's exactly what you want. Now, do you need some patience to come along with that? Yes, you do. And that's hard as a Bears fan because, be patient. That's just something that doesn't mix with fans in the NFL, but that's the complete end game. That's what you want, is the Bears, to be pointing up as we move into the winter months and, the Christmas season.
Well, and that's where it's like, if this is going to be different in the Ben Johnson era, then I think Bears fans need to start being different too, right? We've never seen a quarterback develop properly in this city, let alone two quarterbacks being developed properly in this city. And yes, while Carmen's not around, we can acknowledge that Bagent is being developed properly along with Caleb Williams. And who knows what their trajectories are going to be and how Caleb Williams starts the year. But we can trust Ben Johnson understands how to get the most out of this quarterback. But it also requires us as a fan base and media to have some patience. And I've tried to tell myself that throughout the summer, throughout training camp. Now my final gauntlet will be these post-game shows where it is very reactionary, very emotional, and every game the Bears are going to have a chance to win. And you can isolate key moments that are going to be what you feel like is the reason they didn't. But can you acknowledge the progress and the development that's taking place? And it's all going to be, subjective, and let's see what it looks like. What is the context of how this development looks? And, I saw somebody here in the chat saying, I just want to say, Mo LFC was saying, I just want to see things that make sense, challenges, play calls, game management, etc. Exactly. So, let's see them look competent and in structure and organized like they did against the Bills in the preseason game. Let's see them look like how they did in the second quarter against the Chiefs, where they finally woke up, started running the ball, playing physical, and getting the ball into some of your playmakers' hands and getting down the field. That I agree with that. It just the organizational process that needs to take place in order for Caleb Williams to play clean football. Let's see how that transpires. I'm excited for it. I'm nervous as hell. I'm so excited for Monday. And I'm sure right before kickoff, I'm going to want to vomit because it's a little bit of a mixture of, cannot wait for this game. And I'm also terrified for it because we all want the answers. But then once it finally comes, there's no turning back Monday night. So
it's what we've been waiting for.
Right. Yeah, no question. So Q Harlan says, I want to see smart football. Yeah. Absolutely. So let's take another quick timeout. You mentioned Micah Parsons, so I want to dial that up for you, Shayne, and get your reaction to Micah Parsons being traded over to the Green Bay Packers and why Jerry Jones has no idea what he's doing. So please hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And, hey, make sure that you are also donating here to our friends over at Big Brothers and Big Sisters, as we're having a big month of charitable donations. We appreciate every single one of you joining in on that as well. It's a great cause. So 2 minutes away, we'll come back, talk a little Micah Parsons and some more of Chicago Bears versus the Minnesota Vikings. Hey guys, want to give you a quick reminder that now is as good a time as ever to become a diehard at CHGO Sports. Head to allchgo.com/diehard to sign up. So many great offers at your disposal here. You get exclusive written content from Adam Johns, Adam Hogue, Mark Carmen, Patrick Norton, all across our whole Bears crew. And then, of course, all the exclusive written content for all the other teams included that we cover here at CHGO Sports. Talking Bulls, Cubs, White Sox, Blackhawks, everything, you name it, we've got it. And then, of course, when you sign up, you get a free shirt as soon as you sign up. We got some new releases here dropping right before the season starts. When you sign up, you can get a free shirt as soon as you do. And there's so much more to that as well. You get discounts on all our events. We do great draft parties every single year. We have tailgates. That's right. Tailgates every single home game. When you sign up to become a diehard at allchgo.com/diehard, you get discounts on those events and everything going forward. And then, of course, got to give you a shout out with our diehard tailgates because you don't have to be a diehard, but as I said, if you do, you get a discount. But our tailgates are the absolute best in the city, a gold standard in tailgating and pre-gaming for Chicago Bears games. That's right, all season long at the corner of Wabash and Cermak. you can come out for every single home game and our tailgates. Go to allchgo.com/events. And when you combine the whole thing, check it out, guys. We got a football club offer with the base tier, $59 for the year. Get a free shirt. But if you upgrade to the tailgate tier, you get 2 free tickets to our tailgate and a free shirt included. It literally pays for it all as soon as you sign up. It all pays for itself right away. So that's what we do for you. We take care of you guys, and we appreciate every one of your support. Go on now, sign up at allchgo.com/diehard. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here on CHGO Bears After Dark as we're rounding third on our final preseason CHGO Bears After Dark. The next time CHGO Bears After Dark is on the airwaves, it'll be next Tuesday night after the Bears have played the Minnesota Vikings. And drop your predictions here in the chat. Let us know if you think the Bears are going to win, and excited to get to this game here. So, but before we do, obviously we have a big week of a whole NFL slate. That's the one, like, some people don't like Bears games on Monday Night Football. Personally, I love when the Bears play on primetime. Love it for a few different reasons. I think number one for me is the biggest reason, that kind of where I'm getting to here. And that is, you get to watch all the other games. Yeah. Like even before I did this as a job, it makes it even harder now that I do it as a job. And I'm sure it's the same, for everybody, that creates content out there, but like, you can't really lock into any other game that's going on. You can really only pay attention to the Bears. So when they're on at noon, then like you or I are doing a post-game show, you can't watch the 3:00 slate. You might be able to go back, but by then everybody's already updating you on it. So, you're really just watching the film. You're not really watching the game and experiencing it. But even before that, back when I'd have 6 TVs in my room and, have as many games on at once, I liked the Bears game being isolated so I could watch all the other NFL games, whether it was to follow my fantasy teams or just root against all the teams in my division or whatever. So you get that this week. And we've got some big matchups here. Obviously, the Eagles take on the Cowboys here on Thursday. You have Justin Fields versus Aaron Rodgers, which is crazy. And then you got the Lions and the Packers. So before we get into some of the Parsons talk that we'll finish up with, what are some of the matchups that you're most looking forward to here to start the year before we get to the Bears on Monday?
Well, yeah, you want to. It's always within the division for me, because that's where it's got to. If you want to get into the playoffs, that's where it's going to start for you, is to make hay in the division. I want to see what Green Bay looks like, and along with that big acquisition that they made comes the added pressure of. I mean, now they're shoo-ins. I heard Courtney Cronin and amongst others say that they're Super Bowl favorites now, and it's, to me, that's crazy. I mean, because of Micah Parsons, really? Come on, please stop. To me, that it's lunacy.
Let's get into it before we talk about the slate. Yeah. Then let's talk about that, because Micah Parsons gets traded, from Dallas, and now he's at Green Bay. It's a big move.
Listen, I love Micah Parsons. If I was the general manager of the Bears, I would have been heavily involved in it. I get it. It's worth the gamble, as long as the medical red flags. And I know that's the bone of contention since Schefter came out with the back thing, but he's practiced and stuff like that. But I just, listen, the Green Bay Packers season is not going to be dictated on how Micah Parsons plays. It's just not. He can go out there and lead the league in sacks, and it's not, their season is not, that's not going to make them Super Bowl contenders. It's going to come down to what Jordan Love does at the quarterback position for Green Bay. That's football. And no way I have Detroit ahead of Green Bay until proven otherwise. Right now, I do. And do I have Green Bay touching Philadelphia? Absolutely not. I don't know who's going to touch Philadelphia in the NFC right now. But I understand the move from Green Bay's perspective. I totally get it. a 26-year-old all-pro pass rusher, yeah, it's worth the gamble 100%. But as we've seen, I believe, I think Matt LaFleur is not going anywhere in Green Bay. But if you don't have the quarterback right, we've been there. We didn't have the quarterback right, and we didn't have the head coach right when we made that move. I have more confidence in the quarterback and head coach that we have now. That's why I would have made the move even more so in Chicago's terms. But I mean, would you have been upset if the Bears were involved?
No, I mean, I said this to the hated Peter Bukowski when he came on our airwaves on Friday, much to the chagrin of some of our viewers. But at the same time, I would, if they had traded for him, we would have done a breaking news show and I would have freaked out because, yes, down the road, it affects you. We've learned this with Khalil Mack, but in the immediate, just like we learned with Khalil Mack, it sends a lightning bolt through your team.
100%.
Especially when your roster is close, right?
Yeah.
And so for both the Bears and the Packers, I know the Packers were in the playoffs and won 10 games. The Bears only won 5. So you could say that there is a difference, but at the same time, from a roster standpoint and now a coaching staff standpoint, I think they're closer than what their last year's records indicate. And so either team adding Micah Parsons right before the season gives you a serious puncher's chance to make a Super Bowl run, and make the playoffs. It really does, just because he's a game wrecker. And that's the one thing I'm nervous about on the defensive side of the ball for the Bears is who's going to be your game wrecker. Because as we've seen,
you don't have one.
Eagles, they probably had like 3.
Yeah.
But ultimately, even if you just have one, you look at Von Miller when he was on the Broncos and the run they went on.
Yeah.
Peyton wasn't a very good quarterback at that time, but their defense, they just got to the quarterback at will. And so for the immediate, I do think it's going to pay dividends for the Packers. It is going to send that bolt of lightning through them where they're going to play above themselves. And then if they aren't able to win a Super Bowl this year, then it's going to start affecting them because the money starts to kick in and the draft picks start to kick in. You're not worried about salary cap 1 week before the season. You're not worried about your draft picks, this year. But after this year, it will start to affect them.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. And I think the draft picks are the draft picks, and obviously you're going to have to give up the 2 ones. I mean, that was a given, but people are talking about it like they don't have rounds 2 through 7 to supplement their roster. Those are still there. And when you're talking about it from Dallas's perspective, Kenny Clark is a fantastic player, but I mean, to get back a guy that's going to be turning 30 next month as a big piece to what you want to do, I don't love that from Dallas's perspective, even though Kenny Clark has been a Chicago Bears killer.
Right.
But, I as much as I hate to say it, I understand Green Bay's willingness to roll the dice there. Yep. I do. Do I think it puts them in as a Super Bowl favorite? No, I don't.
Yeah. Well, and then health, this kind of a risk, and it like certainly no one is rooting for any kind of injuries or anything of that nature. So don't be clipping this and try to twist it anyone out there in the YouTube sphere. But at the same time, when you make a move like this, especially when you talk about how much you're paying them and the draft picks that are at stake, an injury,
yep.
And we saw this with Khalil Mack. We're not even talking season ending. When they start to get banged up, you don't have that guy, the resources to have additional depth. And that's where I think the Eagles are different, right? They have game wreckers and then they have depth within the game wreckers.
Yep.
So like to get to that point,
and they're constantly turning things over. I mean, you're seeing all of the trades that Howie Roseman is making. Yes, even though it's for lower level players, it's for lower level guys that have some upside. Whereas when you're looking at Ryan Poles, what is he doing on the defensive line? It's just status quo. And we'll get Booker back in week 6. Montez Sweat is gonna come back and pay above what he's been his entirety, in the league. And Dio Adangbo is going to become somebody that he's not. To talk about his versatility, great. That's not why you signed Dio Adangbo.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing with Dio, and he did not flash much at camp. And that last preseason game, the tape did not look good. With his pass rushing up against the rookie Josh Simmons for Kansas City. But I am kind of like going the other way with it now. Dio is just getting picked on now by all Bears fans. I saw a guy tweet that he's his most hated Bear of all time. And I'm like, can we call out? The guy hasn't even played a game for Chicago.
Well, so we did this over at TTNL, Greg, and let me ask you: we set the over under for QB sacks for a Dangbo at 4.5. What would you? I'm going under.
Yeah, I understand. Yes, it would.
And that's and you gave him 48 million.
Right.
It's not great. And when you're talking about how versatile he is, that just means that the guy's got issues when you're talking about versatility.
Yeah, I agree, but I am rooting hard for him because it would be great if he could kind of shut some people up, because it just feels like he's
not going to make his hay outside. I'll just tell you that.
Well, at the end of the day,
being a better player when he's reduced down and they get into their NASCAR package and they reduce him down and put him inside with a Grady Jarrett or Jervon Dexter, however they want to work that. That's where he's going to be at his most effective, not as an outside rusher.
Well, at the end of the day, I just think that if you're going to hold Dio Dangbo to a high standard because you're mad that he's on the Bears and Micah Parsons isn't, I just think you're directing your energy the wrong way.
That's why one's making 48 and one's making 188.
Right. Montez Sweat is the guy that I think Bears fans really need to hold to a high standard this year. You traded a second round pick, you paid him a lot of money, and he needs to be your game wrecker. And so if there's a trickle down effect from that leads to the rest of that defensive line, playing above themselves, that's the only way it's going to happen is if Montez Sweat has a big year.
Yep.
So as much as, we can be critical of the Dio Dangbo signing, he's not the guy that this defense is depending on to be a difference maker for this team. It's Montez Sweat, no question there. So big season for Montez Sweat, who's yet to have a double-digit, sack total since he was, when he was traded over here. I know he's only been here a couple years, but still, we were trading for a guy that would live in the double-digit sack total. That obviously didn't happen last year. So big bounce back year needed from Montez Sweat. And then let's see if the rest of the defensive line can follow suit. So, yeah, let's get back to what I was saying earlier, and that was the slate for this week. You've got some interesting games that, the Cowboys and Eagles play on Thursday night football here just in a couple days. Chiefs and Chargers on Friday night in Brazil.
Yeah.
And you got the Aaron Rodgers versus Justin Fields. Rodgers was on the Jets and Fields was on the Steelers. Now they're on the other team playing each other. I find that fascinating. You got Panthers, Jaguars. You got Giants and Commanders. So you got some interesting games here. And I know you said that, you start with the division, but what else you look at? You also have Ravens Bills on Sunday Night Football. That's going to be a heavyweight bout.
Yeah, that one's going to be a big one, because you get to a certain point when you're talking about those two teams. It's at some point you just have to win at the end of the year. It's time for Buffalo to get over the hurdle. It's time for Baltimore to get over the hurdle. And strangely enough, that's they're starting out with each other, but this can set in process the entirety of your season. So that's going to be fun. But
that's going to be like the Rams. What was it? The Rams and the Chiefs that scored like 55 to 52. Yeah. Was that who it was against? Was it Rams? I know Rams.
Yeah, it was. Yep.
Yeah. But it's good. I feel like that's going to be the Ravens Bills game. It's going to be like 55 to 52.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And well, Greg, my family. My family's all Philadelphia Eagles fans, so I'll be tuned into that, watching, looking for any morsel that I can use. I can't say too much because they're so good and they're the defending Super Bowl champs, but
they're gonna steamroll the Cowboys.
Oh yeah,
Cowboys. I feel like on Thursday.
I don't know who's touching Philly in the NFC. I just don't.
Right.
I don't.
The Bears
Yeah.
are, Shayne. That's who.
Yeah,
okay?
well, hey, believe me, I'd love it more than anybody.
On Black Friday in November. That's win.
Yeah. Well, hey, sign me up for it, man. I'll be a very happy man if that happens.
And then you got, as I said, the Fields versus Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that game is fascinating from a Bears
it is,
fan
and all
perspective.
all the Bears fans that hate Caleb Williams will be tuned in watching, when Justin has a check down to his fullback for 13 yards. See, he just needed to get out of Chicago. He just needed to get out of Pittsburgh. He's got a new home in New York until next year.
Oh man,
there go the YouTube comments. I can hear them already.
Oh tomorrow. Yeah, that's why we saved the teasing for the end of the program for the real ones that make it this far. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. Rodgers, obviously, they're both looking for revenge on teams that gave up on both those quarterbacks. Yeah. So it'll be fun to watch all of that transpire. And as I said, is there 2 Monday night games like there normally is?
I don't think so.
It's just the Bears because normally you have week 1 2 Monday night games, so they scrapped that now, huh?
Oh, they know that they
Which
can't.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I don't need any other game distraction going on. Let the Bears be front and center. I'm all for it.
Yeah, perfect.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we're the only show in town. 8:15 ABC and ESPN.
Isn't it crazy, man? We're finally here. This week's gonna fly by. I know. I saw, or Hogue was saying on the show today, like we're crawling to week 1. It is going to be Thursday before you know it. And as soon as the games start, Monday will be here. I'm not worried about how long it's going. We made it this far.
Oh yeah.
The summer took a while, but since camp has started, it's been warped.
It's not like the week 0 slate in college football where you're like, all right, it's back. It's going to be fun. But then you're like, and then, I got to watch Florida State steamroll Alabama and put them in their place. So
it was a fun first week of college football as well. And Guy Finley's right. It says it's already Tuesday, even though it feels like Monday. And shout out to the NFL who starts the year the week after Labor Day. So we have a short week that gets us to Thursday even faster as well. So they're always, the NFL is always thinking about us. That's nice of them because we spend a lot of money on the NFL.
It's almost like they know what we're doing or what they're doing, right?
They know how to get our money. That's exactly
they sure do.
Yeah. So, so we got some predictions on the game. Q Harlan says Bears 27, Minnesota 20. Kerry Franklin, who's going to be at the tailgate here on Monday with Phil Atoshin, says Bears 30, Vikings 10. Matt Nagy here in the chat has the Vikings winning 27-20. Nobody cares what he has to say. Aaron Clyden says Bears win 24-17. And Nicholas Vicens, Vikings, I should say, not Vikings, says, stop being modest, people. We're putting up 30 plus on Minnesota. I would certainly love to see that. Shayne will obviously, Shayne and Phil will give their predictions away on Wednesday. I'm keeping it 100, I'm assuming. We'll be giving our predictions away later in the week, probably on Thursday or Friday, I'd imagine, here at CHGO Bears. So we'll save our predictions as well. I did see James Weston in the chat saying, why does Braggs sound like Stevie Nicks after a party? I have been deathly ill for like a week, and I've had like I don't know what's going on, but I have not been good for weeks now. So I don't know what's going on. I've gotten soft ever since
it's that new cat, by the way.
It's the new cat. Yeah, we can blame Juice Box, no doubt. So I'm just trying to battle through. My wife's a nurse. Obviously, she's a terrible one because I'm not better. So I don't know what other than to throw her under the bus. I'm just, a guy says I have long COVID. I have been tested for COVID multiple times. I don't know what's going on. So I know I probably sound terrible.
I'll talk to Barb tonight. We'll figure it out.
All right, good. Thank you. Because you're not helping anything either, too, by the way. So thank you all for bearing through it. Hopefully it wasn't too terrible to listen to, but Shayne always, carrying the weight here on CHGO Bears After Dark. Phil and Shayne will be back next Tuesday night.
Yeah, we ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, well, let's hope. But I don't feel bad. They weren't able to join tonight because they had other scheduling stuff, and I didn't know we were doing a show until late last night. So it was short notice for them. So don't blame them, blame me. But appreciate you, Shayne, as always, jumping on and contributing as you always do. So that wraps things up for tonight. Once again, hit the like button on your way out. Appreciate every single one of you. And once again, donate to Big Brothers and Big Sisters. We're going to be doing this all week long. Go to bbs.org/ALLCITY and donate any amount, or you can use the tab at the bottom of the screen. So that wraps things up. We appreciate everyone. Next time we see you on CHGO Bears After Dark, the Bears will be 1-0, baby. So we're excited for that. Enjoy the rest of your night. CHGO Bears will be back at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Appreciate everyone. Keep your head up and always bear down.
We all silly like the mayor.